Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar DeJesus, and his co-host, John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Leanne DeJesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with Janey Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Jeanette, the pool girl, Horn. Do me a favor, don't adjust your volume. You're hearing correctly. This is a female podcast.
Let's go.
That's right, let's go. This is a new tradition that we've started at Pool Nation. Once we follow the Women's Summit, we are doing a podcast for women by women, and we've kicked all the boys out. What we have done, technically, not kicked them out. We've demoted them down to the boo couch and the boo chair. So they are in studio with us today. We've got Benny, who joins the Women's Summit, and he basically does all the technical stuff that Edgar can't get to. We have John and Edgar in studio with us. They're not allowed to talk. They're just allowed to boo. But if they boo, they know that will get them into a lot of trouble. And a special guest we have today is Bobby. And he is Janey and John's oldest son. So we're excited they finally let him come to Texas, which I was interviewing him earlier going, so I like it. I'm hoping that he helps us convince you once and for all to move to Texas.
Oh, he's ready.
So far, I think he's a huge fan.
Ready.
That's going to be awesome. Today, we're going to talk about the 2024 third annual Women's Summit, which I'm super excited about. And again, this is becoming an ongoing tradition for Pool Nation after the Women's Summit. I want to welcome everybody to the podcast. It's the podcast where it's all pool talk, and we ain't talking about netting and jetting and splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends in the pool industry. Before we get started today, I want to thank the visionary partners for this podcast, Ultimate Pool Tools, the SBPA, Blu-ray, XL, Aquastar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypak, Heritage Pool Supply, and the newest member of our Pool Nation family, Hayward Pool Products. We want to thank them for their continued support, and I'm going to get my tongue untied here pretty soon. As a reminder, nominations for the Pool Nation Awards are going to be September 11th on Instagram Live. It's going to be announced there, so everybody's probably waiting to see what's going to come out of there. I'm excited about that too. I try not to know too much ahead of time because that's all the talk that goes on at my house, by the way, is leading up to the Pool Nation Awards. So there's a lot going on. Just some housekeeping items. The Pool Nation Spotlight and Insight Heritage Pool Pro Appreciation is coming up. If you haven't downloaded that, please take the time to do that. It's worth doing for sure. The Pool Nation Conference is happening November 9th, 10th, and 11th. In that conference, there's going to be a lot of coverage on technical, hands-on, business, and retail classes. So I think that really covers all the areas that most people are asking for at this time. Heritage Pool Pro Appreciation, November 11th, hands-on approach. It's going to be more of an apple bar concept for business, which I think is going to be really cool. It's going to be something I think new that they haven't done in the past. So that's going to be nice to see. As we get started, I'm going to welcome Janey. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Are you tired like I am after the last couple of days?
I am exhausted.
Yeah.
I am still recovering from bowling, even though we only bowled for about 30 minutes.
Isn't that weird?
I have a slight limp.
I blame it on the shoes. Anytime I limp, it's my shoes. It's not the
I'm
muscles.
Not wearing my Crocs.
Yeah. You couldn't bowl in Crocs?
No.
You'd be flying down the front, right? I would actually think John would try it just to say that he does everything in his Crocs.
Oh, he did.
I knew it. I knew it. It's funny how when you do that bowling, it's not that much, right? The ball's like 7 or 10 pounds, but you're working muscles you haven't actually done.
No,
it's
my ball was
embarrassing.
8 pounds. It was nothing.
And I walked away with a limp.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the shoes.
Still recovering. This was, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you wear ugly shoes, it's going to make you limp. I'm sure that's it.
Yeah.
Good morning, Jeanette. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well.
Good. So you didn't bowl?
No.
Did you just sit and eat and chat like I did?
We did.
Yeah. I took sort of an observer approach at that whole after event. It's amazing how much when you do these after events, how many more people that you end up meeting and talking to and I ended up having a great time at the after event.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, it was great.
I was surprised by that thought of let's go to Pinstack, because I've done it with my company a lot of times. And it's amazing how much gets done there accidentally or holistically, right?
Yeah.
It really does. We had some great conversations, and it turned into business conversations and planning and strategy for next time. Let's do this and let's do that. And I'm like, I left there. My daughter kept calling me going, you guys are empty nesters now and you're out late. Why are you out late? You need to get home. I'm like, are you almost there? Because she was driving back from Oklahoma. And she's like, no, I'm an hour out, but you need to start leaving now because you guys are out past your bedtime. I'm like, this is what we're going to be facing going forward. I'm sure of it.
Did they not know that we were in town? We usually keep you guys out until everything closes.
I forgot to use you as an excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one.
Every time.
I should have. You do. Now, it's funny because I heard from Zach that he gets to bed early now. And I'm like, you have to put that away when you come here because we don't allow getting to bed early. Even when we say we want to, it doesn't happen. No. First, you got to eat your way through North Texas, right?
Absolutely.
And I understand from Bobby, he's learning that the food here is amazing.
He is.
And then you've got to stay up and chit chat and close the place down. That's a tradition that we've also started a few years back. So it works out well, right?
Absolutely.
100%. All right. So I think to get us started this morning, I'm going to put you both on the spot, which I know you love that.
It's my favorite.
I know. And I knew it would be. So I'm doing this for you. I want to make sure that the listeners that don't normally have access to you understand who you are and what you do. Just do me a favor, give us an introduction of who you are and what you do, your business, your background, and anything personal you want to share. Because we found out in the last 2 days, there was a lot of personal sharing at the Women's Summit, right?
Yeah.
I think I shared the least at the Women's Summit. I had people walking up to me going, so how did your company get in the pool business? I'm like, no, not at all what happened. My company is, we've done some weird things in my company, but we are not in the pool business. So I had to explain for those of them that didn't know, I'm actually married to Edgar. That's how I get looped in.
Pool business by marriage.
I am.
Yes.
Yep. I get sucked into a lot of things that way. So, Janey, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Let everybody know who you are, what you do, and anything personal you want to share, other than you have a son in studio.
Yes. I'm Janey Flawless, a.k.a. Mama Flawless. I belong to John. We own J&J Flawless Pool Service out in California.
Wait, did you say you belong to John?
I did.
Did I hear that?
I did.
You know I'm going to call you on that. All right, we're going to start over. No, I'm just...
I learned that he gets serious separation anxiety.
He
He does. So do I. We are a unit.
Yeah, you're definitely a unit. All right, you belong to John.
Yes.
Okay, I'll accept that. Go ahead.
He is the red to my blue. We'll cover that later. Yeah, we own a pool service business out in California for about a decade now. We do service repairs, installs, all that fun stuff, which I love.
So you're in the part of California that gets extreme heats too, don't you?
Yeah, 125.
Oh, my God.
Very fun in the summer. I can't wait till it's over. It's finally starting to cool off where nights are like 70s, 80s, and it's absolutely wonderful.
So it's another good opportunity to move to Texas because we get hot, but we don't get 120.
Oh, this is nothing.
Oh, I know.
This is nothing.
I know. So
Yeah.
you need to improve your quality of life and
I
get
know.
your butt on out here.
We do.
Now, you're also the mother of 4.
Yes, I am.
What are your age of your children?
Our youngest is going to be 14 next month. And then we have 16, Bobby, who's 18, and our daughter, who's 21.
Awesome.
Yes.
So your kids almost mirror our kids' ages too.
Yep. You have one older. We have
And you have one younger.
younger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kinda
So
funny.
impressive that you run the business that you do because it's massive, especially for just you guys. I know you have some hired help now.
Yeah.
But also raising 4 kids, 3 of which I am going to point out are boys. Oh my
Yes.
God. No offense, Bobby, but man, I think my boys have been a bit of a handful more than my girls for sure. And you'd think it would be the opposite, but no.
Yeah.
And I think your daughter is a nice mixed clone between you and John.
She's perfect.
Yeah.
She's a perfect mix.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to say that. Bobby's in the studio.
Yeah. The perfect mix. Perfect
is.
mix. Yes.
She is. She's
Yeah.
amazing. So she's been able to come out a few times too. So
Yeah.
it's been awesome to get to know your kids. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I'm now getting to know kid number 2.
Bobby's a lot more like me. He's more chill and goes with the flow. Happy kid. He's awesome. Yeah.
So our daughter Sienna graduated the same time that Bobby did. So it's funny that we have 2 18-year-olds that are now full-fledged adults, and
It's crazy, right?
it's terrifying.
I
Yes.
look at him and I'm just like, wow.
I know.
How'd that happen?
I know.
That was-
It happens overnight. We got text messages from Sienna in the middle of the night. Again, she's learning to adult. They had a flood in their bathroom at the dorm. So she's dealing with plumbers. And of course, she sends a picture of the plumber's backside sticking out of the top of his pants. Going, look what I'm doing at 2 a.m. I'm like, oh my God, right? But you got to figure out how to solve those problems herself. And I absolutely love it. She is a firecracker and she's trailing her own way. So I love it. Yeah, it's very cool.
Bobby is also a pool guy. He comes with me to work multiple times a week. And he's been doing that for, how many years have you been doing that? No, it's been more than 2 years. Probably 3, maybe 4. I don't know. He's been coming out for a while. I used to drag him along every summer or when there's no school. I'm like, you're working.
So congratulations to you two, because Edgar tried looping our kids into the pool business. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't stick. First of all, Dylan was like, no, it's too hard work. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. That's my daughter. She's like, I'll run the office. I'm not sticking my hand in a skimmer or touching a pool vac.
Yeah. Now the girls got better. Brianna was young and you'd see her out there with a test kit and she's working it. So did a summer jobs a couple of times doing pools, but not for us. He actually did really well with it. Till he gets his license and drives, he's stuck not doing pools for sure.
Yeah.
I know. That's a key. All right, Jeanette, you're up. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Jeanette Horn. I own Horn Family Pools out in Maybank, East Texas. I've been in that area for about 27 years, since 2011 on my own. My husband used to work with me. He does no longer. He works in distribution. I have a 25-year-old son who does work with me. I think we were going on 4 years with him in that capacity. And we've got about 80 pools on service. I do repairs and maintenance. I also am a warranty station for the 3 larger manufacturers and secretary for the Rockwall chapter of IPSA and secretary for the North Dallas chapter of the PHTA.
Wow.
Awesome.
So you got a full plate.
Yeah.
You know what you left out?
Oh, my grandbaby.
Oh, I know. I knew. So the most important thing about Jeanette and her world right now, do not be fooled. It is that grandbaby.
Oh, it sure is.
Tell us about that grandbaby. I want to touch the curls. I just want to touch the curls.
Her curls are perfect. Oh, she's going to be
so
2.
cute.
She's going to be 2 years old already. She's just perfect.
She is.
Every chance I get to be with her, I roll up in the morning. I'm like, hey, can you bring the baby out?
Yeah. I'm here. Where's the baby?
Right.
I'm not here to see you.
Nope.
Yeah. And I learned that early on when I had my first child. I'd go see my mom and she lived in a different state. We'd be there about 20 minutes before she actually recognized that we were there.
Right.
Because she was too much fawning over the baby. So we know what's important in your world right now. Love the son, but that grandbaby, son's been knocked down a peg or 2.
Yeah. Those one time I did make the comment about her being my favorite. And he heard that. He was like, thanks, Mom.
It's a true story, though. They need to understand it. It's just like when you get married and you're the whole world, right? You're the blue to the red kind of thing until the kids come along. And then you get bumped down the important ladder quite a bit. And I told Edgar early on, I understand that I'm not the most important girl in your life anymore. I get it. And that's good. That's the kind of relationship you want to have with the kids. But yeah, that grandbaby. So Jeanette was showing me pictures when we were at the summit. And I'm like, first of all, she looks like she's going to be tall.
Yeah.
So she looks like she's going to be tall. But
she did not get the tallness from me, obviously.
And I said, I know she's not going to appreciate those curls, but I'm going to appreciate them for her because they are gorgeous. So she is a big part of your life. So congratulations on that. Love that. So you do have a full plate, but we know what's on your priority list, and that's good, as it absolutely should be for sure. All right, great. So I want to get us started. I'm going to cite a couple of things that we saw at the summit just on day 1, and then I'm going to have you guys jump in and comment for me. So Matt from Heritage opened up, and he talked about, year 1, there's 22 people, and it wasn't held at Heritage, right? It was held in a studio that we had in Frisco. And then by year 2, we jumped into Heritage, and it was 80 people.
Yep.
And we looked at that big auditorium room that they have there, which is fantastic. Heritage is amazing in that space. And it looked amazing with 80 women in there. Wow, that's so cool, right?
Yes.
And so you guys were at year 1. I came to year 2. You guys were at year 2. And then here we are at year 3, and we maxed out at 100 and I'm going to guess 27 people. And then I saw chairs being wheeled in because we needed space for John and Zach and Benny to be able to sit down because
even the ladies, there was chairs.
Was there? Okay, I missed that.
Yeah.
So that room got packed at 127 plus people, and it looked gorgeous, right? It was amazing. Everybody was just brought their whole self to that thing.
Yeah.
So I want to capture some of your things that you saw from year 1. What kind of things did you capture in year 1 that was beneficial to you? Get you into year 2. Now, obviously, it's a a whole nother thing. And I think it grew and developed and then ultimately into year 3. So let's just jump in how you want, but let's start with year 1. What did you take away from year 1?
Year 1 was, wow, there's more women in this industry than I thought or than it feels like, because we're out there by ourselves. So it feels like we're just alone. I'm lucky enough that I had John, but there's a lot of women out there that don't have a John and are trying to do it alone in a male industry, and they get a lot of pushback and things like that. So it was really cool to see that there are more women than we think, and then we just don't feel so alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear a lot of that, the women saying that they're in this male-dominated industry. And obviously, I'm not in the pool industry. I'm in the supply chain industry.
Right.
Men everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually get fueled by that. I love being one of the only women present because I can really just be myself. And sometimes they appreciate it, sometimes they don't.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. What about going into the second year? What did you see when you went? And again, Jeanette, you're always jumping in there helping out Pool Nation with setup and tear down. So I know you're working it too, right? But you're also there to absorb what's going on. What did you take away from year 2 as it grew?
Year 2, there were so many more people. So there are more speakers covering more topics. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what they were last year, honestly. It's nice to see so many women that are willing to give of their time to come and speak to us, to teach us, to mentor us. I guess I don't like to use the teach, but to mentor. And then you just have that camaraderie with all the other women. Like you can sit and talk to your neighbor that may not understand something, or just you come at things from a different aspect and you can come to a clarification of something that was being said. Just you have different perspectives in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Did you pick up on that too?
Yeah.
Anything
Because you can
else
talk to
you can-
someone that's doing the same thing in the same industry, and they have different ways of doing things where you're just like, oh, wow, okay, I never thought of doing it that way. It's just motivating, gives you inspiration to think of other ways to do things.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that where, again, when you look at the people in the room too, they're not from the same grouping in the pool industry, right? You got
Right.
people in sales, you got people that have pool companies like you guys, you got people in marketing, you got just
Yeah.
all different aspects. So they all bring something unique and different to the table. Yeah,
For sure.
And I can tell
Builders,
you, I can tell you what was
everything.
talked about in year 2 only on what I covered, so I can't help you there either.
Year 2 was just like more girl power. Oh, I thought there was a lot before. Wow, there's even more now, and even more areas of the pool business that are in there. And it's just really inspiring. And I always leave just pumped and motivated. Like I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm going to start to do this. I'm going to do this. That's a great idea. You know what I mean? And then I just
Yep.
go home and I'm telling John, okay, I think we should do this, this, and this. And he's like, that sounds great, you know? And it just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it totally pumps me up to be better and do better. And I don't know, I just leave feeling like a superhero.
And it's funny because when you do think of year 2, I love that you mentioned that because it did bring back the memories of that too. There was a lot of girl power in
There
there.
was
And along with that came a little man bashing, which was fun. It was fun. It was good. It was
just a little bit was in there, yeah.
just a little bit. There was much less this year with the man bashing,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of true girl power in there of really helping build women.
Just badass
support,
women.
yeah, badass women
women,
supporting each other, really jumping in there to help, and just really want to, as Alicia would say, stand there and hold each other's ladder. Like,
Yeah.
really that girl power thing. And there was a lot of good relationships and things like that were brought up at that point too.
I was
So-
just going to say that too. A lot of friends made, a lot of relationships, and
Yeah.
everyone was just networking. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Now, remember, I'm going to bring us back to year 2. Remember, Casey McGovern spoke about every child a swimmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of emotion in that room over that course of, there were times when we were laughing because Alicia can crack you up in a second, right? So Edgar choosing her as an MC, I think is brilliant. And the fact that she continues to give of herself to do that is awesome.
Yeah.
So she'd have us laughing and then Casey would have us crying. And it was like, there was so many myriad of emotions full on, right?
Yeah.
And it just kept happening. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who thought this would? We also see that at the Pool Nation Awards. A lot of emotion going on in there too,
Oh,
right? So
definitely.
we laughed a lot about the fact that we could laugh and cry together as,
Yeah.
as women and watch that whole thing unfold. Now, it was fun this year to have Casey McGovern in the audience. And she brought her sister and her team was there. And it was great to see her continue, not because she was a speaker, but because now she's pulling strength from all
Yeah.
these different women and really growing and developing. So that was cool to see too.
For sure.
Now we're in year 3.
Now we're in year 3.
We're packed house. It's absolutely massive.
Yep.
And now it's taken on more speakers, different content. What kind of things did you pull away from this year?
The same kind of things, but just more power, more energy, more inspiration. The classes continue to get better every year, which I really love. I don't know, just more and more empowering to me.
Good.
Yeah. I like to see more and more women. It's just every year, I hope it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that because I think that might be a problem.
Yeah. It's not just a fad. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah. It's funny how you watch something that came across as an idea. And now it's just really been cemented into what everybody wants and expects going forward, right?
Like,
It's just been cemented.
the women's event, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's the.
Yeah.
And I'll give you some feedback that I got from people when we were at Pinstack too. I found interesting. Jeanette, what'd you pull away from year 3?
I learned the big key thing for me was authenticity. That's hard to do.
That was a big theme.
You're trained from a wee one to act this way, do this, don't, especially as women.
Yep.
We're told you can't speak aloud, you need to be small. And so it's when you're balling yourself up a lot of the time, as an adult, you keep balling yourself up and you don't always know how to express yourself. That is something that I have been working on for a couple of years now, is to try to be authentic, to step out of myself, to be who I really am. Because I know I'm not this quiet little mouse all of the time. I used to not be when I was a kid. I know that for sure. The joke was I never shut up. And now I'm working really hard on just to be my authentic self. And so to keep hearing that over and over and over and over again, it's hammering that home for me. That's an important thing that I took away from that.
I love that. And so because I've watched you over the last few years, I'm going to jump in here and comment too. And I hear Edgar joke around about it, right? Like when you won Pool Girl of the Year,
Right.
you know we're going to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
You win Pool Girl of the Year and you get up there and your speech was looking down, thank you. Off you went. Thank you. I'm out.
Tears.
And tears.
Thank you.
Joined with tears and a thank you. And then Edgar commented during the Women's Summit, you actually volunteered to read this really long piece in front of over 130 something women or whatever. That was not the Jeanette we knew 3 years ago.
No.
You are making huge strides just in that space alone. And that was a big theme, be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a girl on my team that was super introverted, really quiet. Some of it was cultural. She was a young Asian female that was just kind of in a family that was male dominated and kept her down. And she was fantastic, but she was so quiet and introverted. And I used to always tell her, just be loud and proud. Just be loud and proud. Be loud. She'd stand outside my office. I couldn't see her, but I could feel somebody was there. And I'm like, hello, is somebody there? She'd peek around with a little question. I'm like, loud and proud. Come on, loud and proud. And here, if you fast forward, I don't even remember, probably 20 years later, I'm going to Hong Kong for business. And she had moved back to Hong Kong to get her master's degree. And she was working for a major company out there. And it gave me such pride when her and I met up for dinner. And I never would have thought in a million years, I'm going to meet her in Hong Kong for dinner someday. And she sat there and said, you can't know how many times I hear you in my voice saying, be loud and proud, be loud and proud. She goes, you're the reason I've gotten to where I am because I've had to jump out and be loud and proud. She goes, and every time I'm afraid and I'm afraid to speak up, I think it and I hear you loud and proud. So I'm hoping that you do the same thing with be your authentic self. Yeah. And I think, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I really felt like in that room, everybody was giving permission to everybody. Just be yourself.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
For sure.
Yes.
Like that was one of the big things I took away from.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was just everybody has permission to get out there and do what they need to do and just be themselves.
For sure.
And there was a lot of that I thought was impressive.
Yes.
So what are some of the things? So you've gone back to John and said, okay, John, here's what we're going to do. This is my ideas. What are some of the things that you've implemented from the past? Can you think of anything that you've walked away from and said, now we've made these changes or we've implemented this?
Now you put me on the spot. I can't think of it at the moment. Yeah, I can't think of it right now.
Can't think of it.
Well, I've taken more of a active role as the woman in my company. And usually I tend to hide behind John and let him do the talking and the dealing with the customers and stuff like that. I'm like, no, you call him, call him, So, I've tried to be more of a bigger role and do things that are outside my comfort zone with employees and customers, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's easy to fall behind somebody that's got a dominant personality.
Oh.
Anybody that knows John?
And he's amazing. So it's like, I can't follow
can't
that
do
up. I'm
that.
like, are you serious? You want me to do that? Like, no.
So you do it a couple of times and you realize, hey, that's a muscle I can flex.
Yeah.
I get better
Yeah.
at it.
I'm like, I can, and he's always telling me I can too. And I'm like, no. He's like, yes, you can. You're great. You can do it. I'm like, no, go ahead.
So, John, don't let her fall into that again. Make sure you're pushing her out front.
Yeah.
Push you out front. But one thing that I find from a lot of things is the more you do something, the more comfortable you get with it, right?
sure.
Like Jeanette speaking up in front of people and putting yourself out there. Do you struggle with that with customers, or have you seen a change in yourself in that space too?
I have seen a change in that. I don't really have a problem speaking with customers unless I have to give them bad news.
Yeah, right.
Like,
This is going to be really expensive
You're going to have to
for
pay
you.
me some more money.
Yeah.
In that area, I've worked through that. So I don't feel bad anymore. I used to feel so guilty. Like, you're in business to make money.
Right.
You know, nobody likes to be the bearer of bad news. So I did have to work. I took a lot of what from last year. That was something, just the whole being around other women, seeing so many powerful women who are in positions that I would only dream of being in, and drawing power from that, and just learning how to navigate certain ways of addressing things. So I just,
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you hear people say all the time, I want to see somebody in that role that looks like me. That you don't really resonate with you. And then you start seeing powerful women in these roles and you're like, oh, that's,
yeah.
yeah.
okay, that's what that means. And I can do that.
Yeah.
And so have some of the business classes helped you with that as well? Because I know that there's a lot of the financials.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
So what kind of things have you been able to
You can
resonate and pull from?
Just being able to track everything so much more precisely, and learning how to read the things that I didn't used to read before. Honestly, that was like the dreaded task. I would glance at them and have a basic idea, but now I'm a little more thorough and can keep tabs on what's going where and what needs to go where.
Yeah.
And
Gives you a little power when you know, I actually need to make this kind of money on this, otherwise I'm going to start losing it.
exactly. Yeah.
So it gives you a little bit more strength from that standpoint.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, have you had anybody in your family, probably your husband, I'm sure, but anybody else notice a change in you as you started to evolve over the last few years?
I don't know. My family, we don't really live around. I've got my son and, there, but most of my family lives out of state.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so we don't have.
So they're not seeing it firsthand.
No.
We see it firsthand.
Thank you.
Hence why you're here today. Look at you
Yeah.
on a podcast, Jeanette. Do one of those, pat yourself on the back real quick. 'Cause I mean, that's a big deal. That's amazing. By the way, you're crushing it. So right. Absolutely crushing it. And I noticed, Edgar, from the chat, we've had some system issues. Hopefully we're not freezing up too much. So I'm trying to watch the chat, but it's mostly we've got some freezing issues. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that when we're freezing up that we're not all making a funny face, because that's the worst.
That would be the worst.
Those are the worst freeze up moments, right? That usually happens to me at work all the time. You froze and you made a,
Yeah.
I tend to be a little bit too expressive. So let's talk about, we're going to stick in year 3. Let's talk about if you were to take that whole day and a half and narrow it down to the one biggest nugget, and it doesn't have to be the same nugget, but the biggest nugget that you walked away from. Like if you had to narrow it down to your most favorite thing from year 3 of the Women's Summit, what is your favorite thing that you're taking away from?
I really enjoyed Jamie and Alicia's class when it was breaking down personalities and what people are like, how to deal with those type of people. I forget what was that
It was like the
system
color
called.
code, I think.
Was it the color code?
I think so.
I can't remember what it was called, but it was absolutely fascinating. And I was just studying everything, taking pictures, and I'm like, okay, I'm this color. John's my red. I was picking out, okay, that's Zach. That's my son. That's my daughter. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm going to go home and I'm actually going to give them that test or the little, not really a test, but the little evaluation sheet that they gave us. And I'm like, I'm giving it to all 4 of my kids, our employee. And I'm like, this is great. And it's just, I don't know, that kind of stuff is so fascinating. Like Doreen was talking about what happens in your brain when certain situations. And I just love like the deep dive into stuff like that. I just think it's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's funny because when we do stuff like that at work, because we have a lot of those different personality things, my first thought is, first I try to guess. I definitely know this is Edgar. I know this is my son. I know,
Yeah.
I act like I can completely pinpoint them. But then what's even more fun is I'll go home and I'll tell them, so this is what the description is of me. Does that fit? And before I even get halfway through it, they're like, oh, yeah. It's like they get a little excessive sometimes and on my personality.
And it just makes you feel more comfortable with yourself in a way. And you're like, I am like that. I'm that too. And I'm like, wow, that is pretty spot on in certain areas, you know?
Well, sometimes it's just the self-recognition, right? Yep, this is how I am. This is how I react to things. This is why I think the way I do. This is the way I behave the way I do.
And then you just kind of like accept it a little bit. And then you kind of embrace it like, okay, I can work on a few things maybe to not be so much of that sentence. But you know what I mean?
And it's funny because then when you learn about other people, you get a better understanding of, now that's why I know why I conflict with that person on a regular basis.
Right. Or now I know how to get through to this person. And maybe if I'm trying to push too much for this person, that's not going to work. Or this person really needs me to push to do that too.
Yeah. I had an experience when I was with Hilton years ago. We had an executive chef, and everything that we did, him and I butt heads. Everything. It could be, let's talk about the performance of this associate, and we'd butt heads. Everything was a butt head. And I couldn't figure it out. And we went through something similar to that where they put us all in a room, the whole leadership team, and mapped out our personalities. They put them on this pie chart, right? It showed your social styles, right? Like this person's really social. This one's analytic. This one's practical, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I was very practical. I'm all about, there's something got to get done. Let's jump in there and get it done. Meanwhile, this chef was very social, and I never understood that because I never socialized or saw him as a social person. But when you went up to his area, he had all these pictures of his past meeting with celebrities and cooking for them and doing all this stuff. And he was very social. So to get him to do what I needed him to do, my practical self didn't love this. I needed to socialize with him a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I would call him and say, hey, can I come spend some time up there with you for a minute? And blah, blah, blah. And I'd come up to his area and I'd be asking him questions. When did you meet this celebrity? Oh, what event was that from? Blah, 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 blah. And then it became, he'd ask me to come up and we would do tastings for an event that's coming up. Yeah. And it was in those social aspects that I would ask him, hey, can we talk about how we want to approach your talent review or your talent development process? I'm like, yeah, great. And all of a sudden we could line up and get done what we needed to do. But I had to give up my practical nature and let's just get it done.
Yeah, to work for it.
I had to build time in there to socialize with this guy. But man, I got stuff done. I had to give up my way of doing things, not 100%, but just for a little bit, to give him time to socialize. And when he socialized with you, he would do anything with you. He would partner left and right. So that's a really neat way to understand, how does my personality fit with that personality, and how can I get things done? How can I move through and maneuver through? At the end of the day, we had the same goal. It was just how we got there.
Yeah. And like in your class about productivity, taking people out of the office during COVID, giving them space to do things on their own, and how much that made a difference. I thought that was really interesting. I worked in an office setting for like 20 years of my life. So I was sitting there going, oh, that makes total sense, because you're worried about what other people are thinking that you're doing, and you're trying to look like you're busy because you don't want to look like you're not working. But when you take away all the noise and you just focus on what you need to do, then you get way more done. I thought that was really interesting too.
Yeah, that whole below the line behaviors. And
above the line, below the line.
Yeah,
like
above the
that.
line and below the line. And it was funny because as soon as we removed, and I see that a lot with even our kids, and it can apply so many places, of if we stop making excuses, right? And just remove all those below the line behaviors and just give people an opportunity to do what they know they need to do and do it best, and keep them above the line and focusing on those end goals. It's amazing how much they can accomplish. Yeah. And we saw our productivity shoot through the roof.
That's a take home for me too. So I'm like, okay, above the line, below the line.
Yeah. I love it when my kids would come home and have a bad math score. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, the whole class did bad, Mom. I'm like, the whole class. I'm like, yeah, let's not talk about the whole class. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about what you need to do to get back into that good graces. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like it's time to take a word from our sponsors. So we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, Jeanette, you're in the hot seat, girl. I want to hear what your biggest nugget was that you took away.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with reoccurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double-locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
So we are back, and Jeanette, I think I gave you enough headway to say, when we come back, I want to hear your nuggets that you took away from year 3 at the Women's Summit. So what are some of the things that, or the biggest nugget that you took away from that you're going to use?
Boundaries.
Tell me about that. What do you mean?
I am a people pleaser.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes I don't say no when I want to say no. I'm learning to say yes when I want to say yes. But boundaries to me, sometimes you take on roles that within your family function or work life, whatever, that you don't want to, or you feel guilty that you're not, somebody may expect you to do something that you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And I end up not doing the things that I want to do because I'm doing something that somebody else wants me to do. And I'm learning that I have to say no when I want to say no, and yes when I want to say yes.
Now, what part of the session got you there?
Stacy.
Oh,
Bear, I
great.
think is her last name.
Huh?
Yeah. Just her whole boundaries and,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Because when you said boundaries, I thought, we talked a lot about we're just going to do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
And so when you're like boundaries, I'm thinking, no, there's no boundaries. You don't have to, but you're putting boundaries on other people.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to do what I want to do. So it gives me time to do the things I want to, less than what I don't want to do.
Yes.
That's
Exactly.
great. So is that both professionally and personally?
Oh, 100%.
Do we need to tell your husband and your son?
No. I will tell them. No, kidding. It's not them,
There you
but
go. We're going to surprise them with, I'm not doing anything you want me to do going forward.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That's a good one too, right? Boundaries. And I think there's a lot of things that we see when we do spend a lot of time on things that are non-value add. And we hear that in the corporate world, right?
yes.
And we talked a little bit about it during some of the presentations when you spend time on things that don't add value or that aren't important to you or that don't bring you to that next level that you want to be at, you're not able to spend time on the things that you should or that bring you forward.
Exactly.
And it also is a time sucker to me. It's an absolute time sucker. One of the things that we talked about in my company, when we go do that whole below the line kind of behaviors and we start placing blame on why we can't do things. We talked a little bit about it during the presentation. There's so many excuses and reasons why we can't do something, right? You guys each have your own business. So there's limits technically to what we can do.
Right.
You have a certain budget that you have to work within. You have a certain number of people that work with you or for you. And so you can't just go out and set the world on fire.
Right.
But you do want to grow and develop your business and make sure that it keeps thriving.
Yeah.
So instead of falling victim to what we can't do or spending time on things that don't matter, you're able to stand there and say, we're going to get rid of these things or these activities, this busy work, because it's not getting us where we need to. We're going to focus on these things that launch us into that next level, right?
Yes.
But you got to give yourself permission to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's all about that permission of it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny because at one point we had hit a low point. COVID had happened. We had a bankruptcy. We were for sale or liquidated, whatever it was going to be. It was anybody's guess at that point, right? We could have sat there as a company and made all kinds of excuses of why we can't get out of this rut, this thing, because we were a victim. We were a victim of a pandemic. But
Right.
guess what? So was the rest of the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't use that one. So there were so many reasons and excuses that you could come up with, but we sat there and said, okay, if we know what we can't do, because we're limited on finances, we're limited on resources, we're limited on what we could even do because the pandemic had us shut down. Like we're so limited.
It was really eye-opening, actually, as I was reading that below the line. And you just self-reflect, like, I think I'm guilty of that one. Maybe I'm a little bit guilty of that one. John's usually trying to push me to do new things, and I'm the one like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And he's like, it's okay. I'm going to show you.
Do you do that?
I'm just like,
honey, I don't know how. Did you
I
do
don't know
that?
how to do that. He's like, well, you're going to learn.
Good for
Let's
John.
go. And I'm
Good
like,
for
damn
John.
it. I don't wanna
That
do
didn't work.
Yeah.
But
so
it's easy.
guilty.
It is easy. It's easy to fall victim to that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, because people are in a victim cycle so much that it becomes normal and it's hard to identify when that's happening.
Yeah. But just knowing that a takeaway from that is identifying that you do that. Now I think of it different. So if that situation comes up again, I'm going to be like, no, that's below the line. I'm going to jump into this and be more confident to try it. So it's just more of the empowering feeling coming from.
Yeah, a lot
it.
of self-awareness
For sure.
And I challenged everybody to say, first find it in yourself when you're going below the line, because that's the best way to recognize it, right? Catch yourself doing it first, and then you got to catch when other people are doing it and help them get above the line.
Right.
It's not pointing the finger, you're below the line. It's really just getting them to get
Be better.
get
And then
above
you
the
do
line.
it, you're more comfortable with it, and then you feel like a rock star when you're done.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
We're all shooting
I
for
did
rock
that.
star quality.
I did that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because when you take away all of the excuses of why you can't do something, it's amazing how many creative ways you figure out how to get something done.
Yeah.
How can we accomplish that? Right. And I
Yeah.
think when you take that theme across all the women in that room, they were all like ready to just set the world on fire. Because to your point, Janey, it's very empowering.
So empowering.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think everybody was pulling energy and power from each other.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I saw you walking around at the after event at Pinstack, Jeanette, it looked like you had a posse because you and I'm like, look, Jeanette has her own posse. And you had a group of women that were everywhere with you. And I thought, to me, it was interesting too, because again, you're not that quiet. You weren't following other people. You had this group of women that you were sitting with and collaborating with and talking with and sharing stories with. So what were some of the things that, I'm assuming a lot of chatter about what they had done the day in that day? What kind of things were people sharing with you?
Well, some of them were like career changes and career moves and relocations and just taking new steps in their lives and going in different directions.
Yeah, that takes a lot of courage. So I think people get really courageous in those moments too.
Right. Yeah.
You have to, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is something that you would like to see going forward into the next year? How do we build on this? Because you both play big parts in it too. So how do we build on this?
Great question.
Well, we know it's going to be fantastic because Pool Nation's putting it on, and it's always just over the top. Go big or go home, like John says. We know it's going to be bigger and better. That's for sure.
One thing I learned is we're going to have to offer more buntinis. I think that was a big miss.
I did not get one.
I didn't
by
either.
the way.
I didn't either. I'd actually wanted us to have them because I learned that Alicia had never had one before. So I'm like, we got to get nothing but cakes, right?
Yeah.
And then
And
she
she
made the
announced
mistake
it.
of announcing it. I should have told her it should have been the best secret until you get one.
Yeah.
We need to get one first. But no, she announced it and you heard the room go, ooh.
Did you see the line?
Yeah.
I went to the restroom, came back, and I thought, oh shit, look at the line. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get one. And I got it. I think someone got maybe the last one right before I got there.
Oh, God.
I was
so
like,
close.
Dang it.
So close. Oh, my God. So I think that was a big takeaway is women in cake. I actually think that cake should be a food group. I think that room completely supports my whole theory.
Now I feel bad because I actually did get one.
Did you?
And it was funny because I stood outside of the line, had a whole conversation with somebody, then got into line and still got one. And then I found out all these people didn't get one. And I felt so bad.
Yeah.
Of course. Leave it to Jeanette to feel bad. I would have felt triumphant. Like myself would have been, yes, I got me a bundt cake,
It was
y'all.
delicious. I'll say that.
I'm just saying. My one takeaway, if we're going to have bundt cakes, we need to have enough for everybody because that was a big letdown for sure. For sure.
I know it's going to be amazing. John, Zach, and Edgar, they're super passionate about women in the industry. And I know especially John, because he's a big advocate for having women in the industry.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be amazing.
We'll have to get creative and figure out how we continue to build on it. But it's also amazing when you look around that room. I think women are amazed at how many women there are in the industry because you get into it
100%.
and you feel like you're almost alone.
all the time.
Right.
Because we are. We're driving around by ourselves, and seeing a woman during the day doing anything in our industry is few and far between.
Yeah. So you already have that sense of I'm pretty much almost solo in this industry.
100%.
And then you get in there and you see all these women that are in it and doing great. Again, it's empowering.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I took away from that I'm still processing in my brain as a presenter at this session, I found it fascinating how engaged everybody was.
Mm-hmm.
So coming from my world, sometimes when we do classes, you're forcing people to be there because
Right.
it's part of the it's part of the corporate plan, and or it's part of their development plan that they have to do. Sometimes they begrudgingly, not always, but sometimes they come begrudgingly, and then you spend some of your time making sure they understand the benefit to them and why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
I like as a presenter in this environment when everybody wants to be there. And so they're incredibly engaged. So any of the ladies that are out there listening, first, my huge appreciation to you for being so authentic and engaged in the process.
Yeah.
You ask somebody to read something, they read it. You ask who has an example or who can tell us when, and they jump up and do
They were
it.
sharing, reading, everything on their own.
They were.
Yeah.
And they were sharing. What I think the piece that really enticed me more was the amount of vulnerability that they exposed when they would say, hey, I faced this situation, or I had
Yes.
this struggle, or
Yeah.
met this obstacle or whatever. And it's like just being exposed and showing that kind of vulnerability was amazing to
And
me.
it's so relatable.
Yes.
Because probably 95% of the room have, in one way or the other, been through a similar situation. And then just the room in general, the way it's set up, like you're in the UN. It was instead
it's
of
very
just
UN-ish.
I don't know, it just made it more of a comfortable space for the ladies. So thank you to Heritage for letting us do that. And then everything that they put on too, it really felt like they had all the ladies' backs too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they really wanted us to be there.
Yes.
Which it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you sensing that too.
Oh, definitely. It's just seeing within their own company how many women are at executive levels or just
Yeah, it was just one giant safe space.
Yes.
Where everyone was just super comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though there was a few sprinkled men in the back of the room, they didn't care. We're all on the same side.
There wasn't a lot of man bashing. But you brought up a good point too, because there were different levels of women at different parts of their career.
Yes.
So there were women in there that were at the very beginning of their journey.
Yeah.
And there were women there that were being honored as ending their journey, bringing their careers to a close, which is
That was
always
amazing too.
Yeah, which is also, it's probably bittersweet for them, but how great to be recognized by all these peers
Yeah.
Yeah.
at so many different levels and so many different parts of the industry. So I found that to be amazing as well.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed that as a presenter, you're coming there to give this stuff, this knowledge, these trinkets, these whatever. But I find that a lot of the learning comes from those women learning from each other.
Oh,
So
for sure.
I can think I'm bringing something of value, but boy, they get a lot more value from each other.
For sure.
Sharing their stories. And again, you go back to that UN style, UN style
amazing.
room. It's gorgeous. I don't know who mapped that out. They designed that thing
Right.
beautifully. But then outside of that room, a lot of the break space also is so nice and intimate that everybody was able to sit and have lunch together or on breaks around that fabulous coffee machine and soda. And they're sitting there and you listen to the conversations and they are all just like feeding and pulling from each other holistically.
Yeah.
That I thought was just beautiful. And that space, that's why I was saying my advice to Edgar was let's not go somewhere bigger. I think to lose the intimacy of that, there's so much intimacy, and I think the
There is.
intimacy is key.
I
And-
don't know if that's going to work though, because they're already talking about how do we get more women.
I know. I wonder if we
It'll
could.
be a
I wonder if we
multi-day.
could, I wonder if we could build like you do in a stadium, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But different levels. I don't know. The
Yeah.
problem is, again, as a presenter, I get as somebody that's a participant. But as a presenter, getting people to engage and have that dialogue and conversation, I would hate to see it become a lecture because the bigger it gets, the less you can pull from the crowd.
Yeah.
And I don't want women to get lost in the masses. I don't want them to get lost as becoming another number in that room because everybody had a voice in that room and everybody had a role to play and
Yeah.
was able to participate. And I think, so my own opinion is not go bigger. I know, but you don't want to turn it off to more people too,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And then how about having 7 of our Trailblazer nominees in there?
Wow,
I love that.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
That was awesome. And the whole phone call.
That was pretty
Did
cool.
you get picked? You
that
know
was
what
a
I mean?
fantastic idea.
So do you know where he got that phone call thing I have to share?
I do. But go ahead and share.
It was so fun. So we were at Sienna's graduation, and this is a massive stadium that we were at with thousands and thousands of people. And they said, okay, everybody turn on your phones, and students call your parent or the person that impacted you or helped you get here. So of course there's multiple parents there, right? And we were actually there with Doreen and her husband because their son was graduating with our daughter. And everybody was wondering whose phone's gonna ring, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna get the call? I got the call. I got the call. And so Edgar is still beefing with Sienna over
Oh, we heard.
I know who you call.
heard.
But how powerful.
It was so uplifting
right?
just to watch their reactions because you normally don't get to see the person's initial reaction when they hear that they've been nominated. So you're seeing everyone look at their phone and then their face lights up and then they jump up and they were just like,
Awesome.
it's me. And it was amazing.
See, and I wasn't there for that, so I missed it. So that's pretty
it was
cool.
great. It was so great.
And by the way, when I asked Edgar how that went, I didn't get near this much detail. so men and their stories, I
Yeah.
can't stand it. But thank you for that because I didn't even think about that. That's their initial reaction to they've been nominated.
Yeah. It was just amazing is, I don't know, the best word I could think of.
That's cool. Neat to have a sneak peek, right? And by the way, it's only the women that got the sneak peek into that Trailblazer. Everybody else has to wait until the nominations.
I know.
They did. They broke their own rules. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. So I wonder, did Edgar happen to allude? Is that going to be a tradition as well? Because we seem to be building traditions year over year.
My vote is yes.
My vote's yes, but he did not say.
We had some people, it was funny, that referenced it to getting a rose on, is it The Bachelor?
Oh, The Bachelor, yeah.
Or there's a show called The Mole, and their phones turn red or blue if you're off the show or on the show, which was funny. And one lady was like, we're in the mole, you know? It was great.
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, please don't watch The Bachelor, but that's just me.
I don't watch it. It's just,
I know the symbolism of the rose. That's awesome. So you're voting yes, make it a tradition.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just like the energy? Do you just think it's fun to have women have an upper hand on the rest of the nominations?
Well, and you're surrounded by your peeps. You're
True.
surrounded by all the powerful women in the industry, the other trailblazers, and someone who might be nominated next year, someone who won the previous years. I don't know. I think it's just a really good energy.
That's true.
Yeah.
True. Is that what you thought too?
Exactly.
You're like, yes, right?
Ditto.
We're in there. We're in there.
Ditto.
Yeah.
The one thing that I also picked up from was I had a lot of feedback from women, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. I'd love to say it was intentional, but it was accidental. But how each of those sessions intertwined and complemented each other.
Right?
Like almost like they were built together, and they really weren't. They were all individually separate. So did you find that to be the case, Jeanette?
Oh, yes. Everything, like I said, the being authentic led into something else. And then somebody else mentioned the same thing. It all did. It circled back and tied in together. It's like a little weaving pattern to make a nice little, I don't know what those things are called, like little pot holders, you remember? You know?
Yeah.
That my grandma held on to for years that we made.
I mean, it made something very intricate. It fit in very nicely with each other. And it's like it completed the story.
Awesome.
And everything I just feel touched with a little bit of everybody, because everybody's so different. And some people are more shy and quiet. Other people are red and outspoken. And there was so much for each person. It seemed like in each class.
Oh, yeah.
That everybody took something away from it.
Everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be important not to have something that would contradict another thing.
Yeah.
But I think when you go back and look at what women were wanting out of this summit, I don't think there was going to be a big risk of anything contradicting.
No.
It was really going to be, how do we build, similar to what Pool Nation tries to do for the pool pros, right? Like, how do we build and elevate the pool pro in the pool industry as a whole? Same thing with women in the industry. After I kept getting that feedback about how complementary these sessions were to each other, I thought, yeah, good thing nothing contradicted. But then I thought, I don't know how it would, because I think everybody's on that same mission, same goal. If we're trying to accomplish the same thing, I don't think there would be anything that's too contradicting at all anyway.
Yeah,
right?
It was all about bettering ourselves personally and in business, and it just tailored to everybody.
Yeah, and at all different levels.
Yeah, and I loved hearing everyone's story in the beginning before they started their class, kind of where they came from, who they were. I thought that was really fascinating too, because everyone was just so different. You can start from basically anywhere, doing anything, and still end up in this industry doing fantastic things.
And it's funny because we were talking about it with Benny. We're like, that wasn't planned either. That people got up there and said, here's a picture of me and my husband. Here's a picture of me and my kids. Here's us on vacation. Here's me catching a fish, whatever, right?
I thought that too. I'm sitting there like, did they all know they were doing this? Because I'm like, every single person decided to do that. I thought
Talk
that
about
was great.
organic, right?
Yeah.
So it was interesting that that's what everybody decided to do.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it made sense why they would do that, because I'm a woman in the pool industry, but here's my life and how I started.
And how
here's
I
the
got
things
there.
that are important to me. And
Yeah.
here's what I balance in addition to my workload. I have this Alicia with her cats and the dogs and the kids and the vacations. And it was interesting that it just happened holistically, that it came out that way.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's one of those things that when you look at it, it's not something that you have to plan. This doesn't have to be such a structured thing that it loses its own authenticity.
Yeah, it humanizes them, makes them more relatable.
Right.
They're like me, and they're the CEO, or they're the president, things that are like
there
that.
were some very high level women in there too.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
And I actually, after we talked about it, I'm like, yeah, I made the mistake of not telling people who I was. Alicia said, I don't know if she said that I was married to Edgar, but she said I'm at JCPenney
Oh, you did.
in HR.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
And I did eventually, but I didn't give my history. And I had a couple people walk up to me afterwards, and it was funny. They're like, again, how did JCPenney get in the pool industry? We're not. No.
Next year. I will expect a full presentation
so I'm gonna have
on where you started.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do it next year because I think I left people wondering, why were you here? Who brought you here? What's that connection? There's no real connection from an industry perspective.
And then who knew there was a small town of 57?
Right.
Alicia's story. I was like, oh my God. But I loved it. Barbie can be a farmer.
She did a great job of articulating and again, so creative and funny how she did that. Like I had a woman join us in the job market right now. So I'm like, hey, just come and network with some women. So she's not in the pool industry. She used to work for me at JCPenney and she left and went for another company, and she was kind of victim of a down cycle in their company, so they had a layoff. And I was hoping, because I didn't know what all the presentations were going to be, I thought, gosh, I hope this is relevant to her, but I really wanted her to be able to just get out and network with some women. And she had the time of her life. She posted on it on LinkedIn, and it wasn't a pool industry thing. It was really a women empowering women thing. And she just had a ball. And so we don't go down the rabbit hole of different pool industry items or issues. It's all about just empowering women and women being in the industry. And she took away so much from it. So I thought that in itself, because she's not in the industry, she still took away just as much as somebody in the industry would take.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't the target audience.
Right.
Except her gender.
Yeah.
Right. And it was amazing. So it was cool to see.
Technically, you're in the pool industry. Pool floats in the furniture department, towels, right?
Yes, towels.
Just sprinkle a little more pool-related items there, and you're in.
One of our number one products is towels, for sure.
There you go. You're in.
Big towel sales coming up, by the way.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you are in the industry.
Yeah, there you go. We can always make a connection somewhere.
Something's got to dry you off.
Not the California 125-degree weather. I think that'll dry you off real quick, for sure. So, Jeanette, anything that you want to see going forward personally that you want to take away, or are you just in it for the ride? You're going to sit there and ride the wave and see what happens at the next summit?
The latter. Yeah. No, I think that I just like to see what everybody else puts out there, because I don't know what I'm looking for until I see it sometimes.
Okay.
And
so you're like, I don't know, but when I see it and I want it, I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
Is that what you're hoping for?
Sure.
So I'm going to have to give that some thought and think, okay, what are we going to bring for Jeanette?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll think about it a little further and I'll send you some notes later.
The one thing I did want to ask you, though, when I watch how involved you get, because, by the way, Edgar is incredibly blessed to have you, because you're like this honorary Pool Nation member, and you show up early to help out and you stay late to clean up, and you're a worker. You're in there and you're working it.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I notice when you are doing that, you don't hide behind the scenes and do that either. Like, you're at that table and you're seeing people when they walk in, you're getting their names, you're getting their badges, you're helping them out, you're doing that. Is that helping you also connect to women just, again, holistically? It's a little bit of a secret that you're connecting with them. They're not noticing it, but I notice that you are.
Yeah. I think everything helps you get out of your regular routine. For most people who know me, I don't know if I'm an introvert, but I'm
Oh, no,
shy.
you are. No, you are.
Okay.
I'll just tell you.
Okay.
I'll do a personality test for you later, but you are.
I read a book once and they said it was, what was it called? The Introverted Entrepreneur or something. And the way they described it was I wasn't really an introvert. I was shy. Like, because I want to be with the people. I don't want to go hide but I want to be with people, but it takes me a minute to be with the people. Right?
You got to work yourself into it.
Yeah. And so I think doing those things gets me an opportunity to be with people and gets me out of my shell, and I can talk with people, because in case you haven't, I do like to talk. I just sometimes trip over what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that, as we all do, by the way.
Right. I think everything is an exercise for me to make me a better me.
Yeah. And again, I applaud you for doing that, because you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to do that.
And honestly, I enjoy helping. I
believe that.
I really do. I enjoy it.
John absolutely loves you.
I told Edgar, I go, if you had a payroll, you should put her on there.
Right.
Like I do it for free.
There's these people, Benny, for example, that just shows up and helps out. And I'm like, Now, we did joke around. A lot of these women, I don't know if they heard us talking about it, but we joked around about Benny being Edgar's son.
Yeah. I had several people ask me. I was like,
And at one point, we were standing there talking, and my daughter called, and this woman we were talking with just realized that Benny was not our son. So for the record, Benny is not our son, and respect to Benny's mom that keeps putting up with this, but Benny is not our son. And when we were sitting there talking, I just educated this lady about him. We're just joking. He's not our son. My daughter called and I go, oh, look, Benny, it's your sister. And I had to go take a call from Brianna. And the lady goes, that's why they think he's your son. I'm like, yeah, but her timing couldn't have been better of calling. So it was funny that way. But I see you getting yourself involved in doing that. And I know that you do like to help, but such a valuable part of the team. I know that Edgar probably tells you that, but I'm going to tell you that myself because it's amazing when I show up to help and you're already there. Jeanette's got this. That's awesome. I don't have to do anything.
Yes. John, Zach, me, we're all lucky to have you.
Thank you
So much.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be an honorary member.
And it's fun to watch you grow because I know that you really struggled with it at the beginning. I think it's great that you got the first Pool Girl of the Year.
Yeah.
Because that's awesome to have it the first time. Now that makes you like this model that everybody else has to live up to. I'm just telling you.
Or do better than.
Do better than.
No, you always want improvement, right?
You do.
But I will always be the first.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
There you go. And I think Casey was the first women trailblazer, right? How cool that she got to be the first one. And now, look, it just cemented her into this organization.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
she's just... People admire her. They want to hear from her. They want to help her. In fact, when we were at Pinstack, I was probably driving her crazy, but I don't have this off switch. So I'm like, all right, Casey, I'm going to give you some feedback. I know you didn't ask me for it, but I'm going to give you some feedback. Here's what I want you to try next time, or here's what I want you to do. And she's like, great.
Yeah.
And she's taking notes and she's so open and willing. And I just love it. I can't wait to watch and see what she does next because, you get so invested with some of these women and what they're doing. It's been amazing.
Plus, I think that's one of the big things why Pool Nation likes to do the awards is to point out those people and give them some recognition for people who don't know they exist.
Yeah.
You know?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's funny, and I think I've confessed this a couple of times. When Edgar's come to me with some of these ideas, I'm like, yeah, sure. Leanne, I think we should do awards for people in the pool industry. I'm thinking, okay, maybe 5 awards would be good. And then he comes out with the number and I'm like, wait, really? Like, how's that going to work, Edgar? Is there enough to do that? And then you see it grow and just get crazy on you, right? And even just like the Women's Summit, the Pool Nation Awards gets bigger and better every year. And I'm like, I don't want to scare anybody, but how do you keep topping that? Like, what's your game plan to keep topping it?
My formal wear wardrobe is expanding.
I know.
I'm gonna have to start selling some things to get some new things.
There you go.
Right?
And honestly,
Worn once.
Right?
Worn once.
it's funny because you can't wear it again.
No.
Yeah.
No. There's photo evidence of that, and we know that that's just not done.
Right?
Now, isn't that cool how you get so dressed up and you, again, going back to Edgar's idea when he came out and said, I think we're going to have everybody wear suits in that first year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Pool guys, they're going to want to get in a suit. No problem. And then it turned out fantastic. Everybody loved it. A night to dress up, a night to showcase, really celebrate.
Yeah.
And so then, of course, the next year it's going to be, we're going to go to tuxedos.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. This
John was
year-
the same way. It needs to be upscale, fancy. It's a night to celebrate.
Who'd have thought,
Yeah.
right? That was not even a thing. Now, this year, Edgar's gone a little crazy, and he's finding as many wild jackets as he can get his hands on. So he's going to have wardrobe changes. I'm certain of it.
Of course he is.
Now, if I tried to do that, I'm like, look, I need about 3 gowns because I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to middle this one, and I'm going to end with that one. He'd be like, no.
We need an awards gown and then an after party gown. Last year, it was so hard to maneuver in my dress because it was like wide this way, and
Which
I'm
was
trying
gorgeous,
to squeeze
by the
into
way.
people, and I'm like, oh, this is not working. And there was so many people that trying to maneuver. Excuse me.
There
Excuse
was.
me.
There
Trying
was.
to shove my dress down.
I'm going to duct tape around the dress just to bring it in a little bit, Janey.
Seriously, I was like trying to get in an elevator. If there's too many people in there, I'm like, oh, wait. Not going to fit. I'll wait.
That's so funny. I didn't even
So
think
worth
of that.
it, though.
I
So
didn't-
worth it.
I didn't even think of that. And have you started shopping for next year?
Absolutely.
Oh my, or this year?
Yes.
I've already
Oh,
made
this
all
year.
my
A
purchases.
few months away.
You've already purchased?
Huh.
Jeanette,
Awesome.
I'm already ahead of the game.
you want to tell us about it, or is there going to be a big reveal?
Oh, no. It's just a dress.
Don't try to downplay it now. You've already bought it. Come on.
I'm going black this year.
Ooh. See, I started with black. I'm thinking I got to go with another color.
I've gone all
Am
the...
I black or green? Yeah. Secret.
Ah.
John picks my dresses every year.
Oh, nice.
And
That is a good
they are
secret.
amazing. Yes.
He
That
does
is
great.
He has way more fashion sense than I do, just so everybody knows.
Oh, wow.
But he picks it, he shows me, and I'm like, I love it. Absolutely love it. That's what I'm getting.
And you know why?
Yeah.
Because he's the red to your blue.
He is the red
He
to my blue.
understands what works for you.
Yeah. He could literally go out shopping for me, and everything he brings back fits perfectly, and I love it.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
So Edgar can do that with my tennis shoes because I'm pretty basic in the tennis shoe wear. So he goes out and gets me like the best tennis shoes. And I'm like, I wouldn't have picked that color. And then I end up loving it.
Yeah.
And purses. I don't pick out purses anymore. Edgar picks them out for me because he's better at that. And I'm like, I don't know why. I know they probably hate that we're telling these secrets. but
Yeah.
he's really-
Too bad.
he's-
Too bad.
Edgar's a good purse picker.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jason helping out, or is he on the sideline going,
No,
nope,
he's-
this is all you, Jeanette?
I do send him, I'll try something on. I send, he 100% gives all of his input, and he will be honest with me and tell me yes, no, yes,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's got
Yeah.
some buy-in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is he there with you when you're trying them on, or are you sending pictures from the dressing room?
Usually do it from the dressing room because like it's one of those things that I go when I can go, and
Yep.
usually we're not together.
I wish I had $1 for every picture that was taken in a dressing room nowadays.
Right?
Because
I know.
my kids do it and they post it, taking a poll, which
Yeah.
one?
Yep.
And I'm like, what took you so long? Oh, I had to post it. I had to. I'm like, oh my god. So that would be incremental revenue, right?
Right.
Every picture's been taken in a darn dressing room.
Seriously.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Forever. You could probably retire just on that alone.
I can honestly say I've not taken a picture in a dressing room. I'm in there and I don't want
Yeah,
anybody to see
neither.
what's going on in there. I'm not proud of how that looks.
He's the only one that sees that.
You hope.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
He knows
I
better.
sure, let me see your phone when I get home.
You're like, you didn't show this at work? Show me. Watch him put it up at work on the screen. Hey, y'all. Which do you guys think, Jeanette? I got to give her
Oh
an
my
opinion.
God.
That's my worst nightmare.
He did. Well, luckily you've already bought for this year, so you're safe.
Yeah, I'm good.
If there was a bad story, it's over with now.
Right?
Yeah.
That's too much. Oh my gosh. We digress to the awards and our fashion senses.
Of course.
I better get busy. I got to go find me a dress. We're going to try, I think, this year to get all families to go, right? Are you guys going to
We're trying to work on that too. Yeah. It's a little harder because we have to fly everybody.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah, you do.
working on
That's a long road trip.
trying to bring maybe a couple of our
Bobby,
wonderful children.
Bobby, get your position cemented now.
Yeah.
Like-
well, he would be one for sure.
'Cause he's older. He's an adult
Yeah.
now. Come on.
I just want to
right?
see him in little tuxedos.
I know.
Oh,
I
That's
know.
gonna be so cute.
I know. Little tuxedos.
yeah.
She
Not
didn't
so
mean
little for
that.
him, but
She didn't mean that.
my youngest. Sorry, Bobby. Aiden. Aiden's little tuxedo.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
He's taller than I am.
Yeah, we'd have to fly CNN from Arizona,
Yeah.
but it'd be worth it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that we can pull that off.
Yeah. I'm trying to
You
talk
know?
my mom into coming.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she's
So,
here local now.
yeah.
That'd be perfect.
It's a little tough.
You
but
think?
I'm working on it.
You going to dress her too?
Absolutely. Yeah.
She's got to show up.
Absolutely.
She's got to show up and
I know.
represent.
Working on it. Working on it.
I forget that she's local. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
She has to just see what the production and how everything goes and happiness level of the room when things get started. It's an amazing energy that you just can't
Yeah.
have anywhere else.
So our oldest daughter, Brianna, went last year. And I was a little distracted because I would lean over to her and I'd go, look at how amazing that is. Look at what your dad's doing. Can you believe the three of them just built this? Look at that. Like
I was doing the same
they're-
thing.
It's incredible, right?
Because we brought my daughter last year with
got
Fabian.
they got to sit together, and it was like I wanted her to understand where that
What
started.
they do.
Yes,
Right.
all the time you're complaining that your dad's busy. This is what he's been doing, right?
That
And
was
so
the same way.
it was amazing for them to see it. Now she's just hell bent. She's coming this year too.
Yeah.
So now it's a thing.
They
for
were
her.
amazed. They were amazed.
Yeah, because you
It was
can talk
quite
about
impressive.
it. You can talk about it. You can even watch it on video.
Yeah.
It's just not the same as when you see what's going on in that room and the emotion in that room. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Like there's this wide range of emotions that's taking place.
Yeah.
With crying and happy and people being so excited when they won.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm going to throw a challenge out to Edgar. He didn't know that this is coming. But when you think about the Women's Summit and you think about what happens at Pool Nation Awards, I think we need a female whole Women's Summit thing when it comes to awarding certain women in the industry just for the summit, not for the awards, because they're all in play for the awards anyway, like most of them, right? But what can we do to do some recognition of these women that attend the summit? So put your thinking hats on, ladies, because we can probably help Edgar come up with a good idea. We can recognize and reward some of these women. I want to see that happen.
Yeah.
I think that'd be incredible.
I'll start brainstorming with John.
You're like, I'm going to get behind John again and say, okay, John, come up with an idea.
Yeah.
Right? Come on, let's do this. I think really getting that sort of recognition, because not everybody goes to the awards.
Right.
Mhm.
Although I did hear a lot of people talking about, I've never been to the awards, I'm going this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I also saw a lot of, this is my first year coming to the Women's Summit. Next year, I'm bringing my entire team.
Oh, I heard that multiple times.
Did ya?
Yeah. Or I sent someone last year. They said it was so great that I had to come this year.
Yeah.
Next year, everyone's coming. Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard people say, oh my gosh, some of the men that were lingering in the back were saying things like, oh my gosh, my wife came back last year, couldn't stop talking about it.
Yep.
So now I had to come and see what it's like, we should have a sign. Boys aren't allowed, but that's okay. Nobody was paying attention to them. But
Yeah.
But all the feedback that they were getting from people were just amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we don't grow it, because people want to bring their entire team, which shows the value that the Women's Summit has.
Right.
But then it's also, I think, elevating people to want to come to the Pool Nation Awards that they haven't experienced that yet either. I think that in itself is huge. But
Yeah.
especially when you see the Pool Nation Awards, that's just eye-opening to what the pool industry is doing for each other.
And now we have the
sponsors.
Pool Nation Conference this year.
I know.
So that's another,
That's a brand new thing on the map.
yeah.
And then
I'm
you
looking forward to that too.
gotta watch
That's gonna be amazing.
how that grows and develops. Yeah, when you look at what they're going to cover there,
They're covering everything.
technical,
basically.
business,
Yeah.
everything,
Retail,
hands-on.
everything. Yeah.
And-
One-stop shop for
Yeah.
pool business.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much that grows and develops, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait. I didn't get looped into that one, just for the record, so I might just have
Not
to.
yet.
No, but I might have to pop in and see. So I might have to pop in and see. At least maybe I'll be an observer this time.
There'll be something for you to do.
Shh, Janey, shh. We're going to take a minute. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and then when we come back, we're going to wrap up with final thoughts.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
All right, welcome back, ladies. We're going to wrap up with final thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Jeanette. Give us your final thoughts.
All right. I just wanted to say that I am so thankful that Edgar, John, and Zach put on the Women's Summit for us all to attend. I look forward every year to seeing how much better it's going to get, how much it grows, how many more women are going to benefit from the Women's Summit, how much more we can connect. And I just love everything about everything that these guys are doing to help us. I'm so thankful for that.
Fantastic. No, thank you. I appreciate that. Janey, final thoughts.
That's exactly what I was going to say in the beginning also.
Just ditto.
Yeah, so definitely thank you, John, Zach, Edgar, for putting this on for us and being cheerleaders for us women. I kind of want to go back to Stacy's class when she had that chart of being your authentic self, and she had the funny little funky line of 20s, 30s, and 40s of being authentic and how it went down or across, down, and then back up to where she is now. And I'm going to do a little cupcaking. So, I'm definitely not the person I was when I was in my 20s. And I would like to say thank you to John for pushing me, being my red, to being a better person, being a stronger woman, being more confident. And
that's great.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Just being myself and getting out of my comfort zone and being my cheerleader and pushing me to be better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's not a lot of women that could thank their husbands as genuinely and sincere, truthfully, right? So what a benefit. And I think
he's amazing.
I know. It's congratulations to you both because you have a beautiful thing. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be in a big mystery for next year, right? Because we know that this thing is going to continue to get bigger, but can it? It was like,
oh, it can.
Boom, boom, boom.
It can.
Oh, it can.
Go big or go home.
But should it? I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn. But again, I'm going to put a plug out there. Special thanks to Heritage. God, they're an amazing partner. The way that Matt got up there and said, we're just going to partner for life. I'm like, that's a bold statement, man, but we'll take it. Like, it was really cool that he said that. And he drove home that partnership left and right. And so I think Heritage, anything that I've seen them do, they just jump all in.
Yes.
And I just love the fact that Edgar and John and Zach were able to build that relationship with Heritage early on. And I think it's just been a beautiful thing. So I love seeing that. But big mystery for next year to see what's it going to have? What's it going to be? How big's it going to be? Where's it going to be?
Yeah. And then to Jeanette for being our number one team member here, that I know Leanne mentioned that Edgar appreciates you, but so does John and Zach.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very much.
And we appreciate you too. I appreciate both of you being able to hang out with me today and come in and do this because it's like, it makes it a lot easier. So thank you to you both. And let's see if we can help put our hats together and see what we want to do for next year and make it bigger, better, and again, more empowering for all these fantastic women in the industry.
Boss women. BAWSE,
How
right?
did we not talk about those hats? Oh my gosh, we got to get those hats in there. I know those.
Yeah.
Edgar told me this morning those hats were all over the internet this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Be your boss.
My ass has your back. You'll get that if you were there, but I will not go into detail.
You had to be there to know.
Had to be there.
This is part of being in the know for sure, right? Be there or be talked about. No, that's not the one. That's not the one.
Yeah, not that one.
All right. Thank you both so much. It was a pleasure. And
This was fun.
It was so much fun. So thank you.
And thank you for your time that you give as well.
Oh, no problem. You know, she's got John pushing her and I've got Edgar pulling me. So it's, it's what happens. It's my pleasure for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.